questions for the players.
Sure. As I mentioned the other day, I mean, I'm a fan of all of you, but I really enjoy seeing you in June because that means Louisville baseball is still going strong. So, very happy and excited to be here. Super proud of these guys. They know when they choose to come to the University of Louisville, it's about putting it on the line, and even more so, a little more weight on their shoulders and a little more edge and fire to them, knowing that they want to be a part of the legacy, not just leaving their mark here in this program, but getting us back on track. And the reason all these guys came here, these guys coming out of high school, and obviously we've always signed a few junior college guys, but even the transfer portal guys, they're well aware as to where we were at the past couple years, and that was an exciting challenge for them to restore, rejuvenate. But we really closed the book on that, and these guys, this is their team, their year, their season. They don't have to carry around any weight from the past. They just got a chance to learn and grow. And if you followed us closely, it was a lot of good things this season, but it wasn't unblemished by any means. And we had our moments, and as we like to say in boxing terms, out of our honor of Muhammad Ali, we got knocked to the mat more often than we would have wanted to. But they just trusted the process, and that's part of learning. And you can, the tests you go through in baseball through a season can prepare you to play good baseball in the postseason, and these guys are doing that.
All right, questions for the two players?
You guys started way back in February. I think your home opener got snowed out or colded out or whatever it was, and then when you played, it was still cold. Does going through all that early in the year, does that add to the tenacity or the resolve of the team?
Yeah, I think there's nobody that prepares more for playoff baseball or just like the season in general. But I think we are really, really competitive in the fall and the early winter, and we play every weekend in the fall, pizza bowl games or inter squads or whatever, in the snow, in the rain, just like so we are the most prepared, or so we feel like the most prepared team every time we run out, no matter the conditions. Whether, because Coach Mack says it all the time, it rains in super regional, and it rains in a regional, and it rains in Omaha. So competing and fighting in the fall and in the early winter when it's still pretty cold, I do think it prepares us early on to play our best baseball.
Yeah, kind of just similar to what he said. Anytime you can practice in the rain or the snow, I think that kind of helps you just because it makes the game easier when it's not raining or snowing. But I think there might be some rain this weekend, so I think we're definitely prepared through everything we went through this fall.
Let's just make it very clear to the recruits. It doesn't snow here that much, all right, guys? I mean, come on. I mean, this is Kentucky. We're in the South, so the few times, right, it does. But these are Kentucky Midwest kids for the most part. So even coming out of high school, they played in worse.
Flurries.
Lucas, Coach mentioned you guys got knocked on the mat a few times. Was it hard to trust the process through all the injuries and the things that happened throughout the year to get to this point? Was it difficult at all, and how did you kind of stay through that and stay focused?
It's definitely difficult. Losing sucks, but adversity is good. Coach Mack, there's never a point where it's like where it feels like everything's going wrong. It's like whatever happens, like it's good. Like we can learn something from it. We kept learning and we kept growing and we kept getting better. And I think for a group from last year that me and Patrick got to be a part of, that felt the feeling really of missing a regional altogether, and that sickening feeling that nobody wants to feel ever. It really prepared us. And that's going along with the struggles that we've had this year, like all the adversity, all the struggles. I feel like it's just made us better and better, and helped us get to where we are now.
Patrick, the way that your team pitched during the regional round, I mean, you've seen how you guys were going throughout the year. There was some inconsistency. To lock it down the way that your guys did, how special was that to be a part of that and to see what some of those young guys were able to do as well?
Yeah, that was definitely huge. I mean, we have been a little inconsistent at times, but we're human, and everybody in here knew what we could do as a pitching staff. So I'm glad we could do it and figure it out at the right time. So that was big.
And I've publicly said too, like, as we're so proud of the pitchers last weekend, I think one of Coach Williams' strength is we always pitch well in the postseason. Unfortunately, we got skipped over. You know, we missed out the last couple of years, so we didn't get a chance to showcase. I publicly said I thought we were going to do damage in a regional last year, and so, as Pat says, a talented pitching staff. But man, Coach Williams' forte is pitching their best, being healthy, feeling strong in the postseason. So I'm glad we get to showcase these guys for the world to see, because like Patrick said, man, it's a talented group, and just trusting the process, trust their stuff, and realizing they're not out there by themselves. And that was a fun weekend as a coach to be a part of.
Lucas and Patrick, the way you guys finished the season and then losing the Pitt in the ACC tournament, can you kind of take me from that moment in Charlotte after that loss to the highs of coming out of the regional in Nashville? Like, what to you guys was kind of the key to shaking off what had happened in the past and still being focused enough to come out of Nashville into this?
Yeah, that was tough, the ACC tournament game. But I mean, we knew we were gonna get a spot in a regional somewhere. And once you get in, everyone's record 0-0, so it doesn't matter where we went. I think we were just kind of ready to flush that and move on from it.
I think it's something Coach Mack said that it's kind of represented how our year went as a whole. Like, we were so close. Every weekend we went on the road, we could have taken it for sure. I mean, it was just like one game short, like play a little bit better, and then we go to the ACC tournament and we could have won that game. Just had to be a little bit better in a couple places, and it left everyone a little angry, frustrated, mad, and I think getting an opportunity to go play in a regional, it's like no way, no way we're letting that happen. Like, we're locked in, focused, we prepared, and got ready to play good baseball. Wiped it.
For the two players, you all are in an all ACC Super Regional. There's multiple ACC teams still trying to get to Omaha. What do you think it says about the conference and how difficult the challenging schedule that you guys played?
I mean, personally, I'm not really surprised just seeing everyone in the ACC this year. We knew there was a lot of talent, so I'm glad the ACC is being well represented. And yeah.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. Two ACC teams in a super regional. I mean, you watch baseball across the country. It really doesn't matter what conference you come from. You see Murray State dogpiling, and I think it's really cool that those conferences get represented too. But I think ACC is up there and can compete with any SEC team. People like to talk about SEC, ACC, whatever it is. I don't think it matters. I think there's a lot of teams playing good postseason baseball, and I'm really excited.
Yeah, they went on the road and won last weekend in Hattiesburg. You went on the road and won in Nashville. Now you're at home. Is there an advantage to being at home, and if so, what is it?
I love playing at home personally. I love getting to show out in front of the city of Louisville, kind of represent the school and the program a little bit. It's cool that it's already sold out, so probably one of the bigger crowds that I've ever played in front of, so it's pretty exciting. But I mean, baseball is baseball, so you got to show up and play. Yeah.
I mean, just that's kind of the reason most of us came to Louisville, just getting recruited and stuff like that. Coach McDonnell would always show us the dog piles here at Jim Patterson, so that's kind of the reason you come here, is to be a part of this and show out for the fans that come out.
And I hope this weekend just a celebration. It's very fitting that it's the 20-year anniversary of Jim Patterson Stadium, as we honored, Mr. Patterson and his family. I talked to him the other day on the phone. I've talked to him, I feel like, more in the last year than I have previously, and so we're continuing to bond and connect, and just him knowing how much we appreciate him. And again, you just don't know if this program ever is what it is if it's not for somebody, the generosity of Mr. Patterson. So an opportunity to celebrate 20 years and make him proud, is extra special for like I said, myself and these players.
Starting with Lucas for both players, Miami obviously being an ACC team, you guys didn't get the chance to play them this year, but there is some familiarity. I guess, what do you know about this group? How do you approach them this weekend? And is there kind of a way you guys feel you can attack them and maybe you have the upper edge?
For one, like Patrick said, I think there's rain in the forecast this weekend. They play on a natural field and maybe not as prepared to play in the rain. But overall, we've done a little bit of scouting. We'll get into a lot more scouting stuff tomorrow. But as of now, it's a faceless opponent, and we're preparing ourselves, focused on ourselves, and preparing to play the best baseball we can.
Yeah, and just on the pitching side, mostly as a staff, we try to pitch to our strengths, not the other team's weaknesses. We know they have a little bit of power at the front of the lineup, and they will play a little small ball. They like to bunt and stuff like that. So.
For the players, there's a lot of players on this team who were born or grew up in or around the city of Louisville, and even you guys grew up in this region. What does it mean for a team that's got a nice local and regional flavor to it to get Louisville back to the Super Regionals?
I think it's awesome. Again, when you come in for the first time and you're getting recruited, like that's what we're talking about. There's no one's coming here to make a regional or to play a regular season, like play for the ACC. I mean, obviously, yeah, those are the goals, but everyone's coming here with the goal in mind to play in a super regional, dogpile in a super regional, and go to Omaha. So it's awesome for me, like talking to Coach Mack the first time I ever talked to him when I was here, and like those things really becoming real right now, and getting to, like I said, represent our program and the city of Louisville in itself. And I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody come out and have a lot of fun this weekend.
Yeah, and it's kind of similar to the positives of going to the Nashville Regional. It was just our family and friends could have a close drive because they're always there to support us and stuff like that. So yeah, it's great. It was great growing up watching the success of Louisville baseball. And playing here is just going to be a great experience and a great atmosphere.
Anything else for the two players? Let's move on and take questions for Coach.
Dan, what does it say about college baseball in the year that it is that the teams that lost to the 15 and 16 seed the first day are here playing in a super regional?
I mean, baseball is one of the great equalizer sports where, I mean, yes, ranking and all that stuff gives you an edge, you feel like, but when you run out there between the lines, I said it after last year when 4 ACC and 4 SEC teams went to Omaha in the changing landscape of college athletics, I just thought, man, as being a guy from a mid-major at the Citadel that got to play in Omaha and seeing the Kent States and the Stony Brooks, and the Oral Roberts and all those teams over the years, you just felt like, man, it's unfortunate because I don't know if that could ever happen again. But you watch these regionals, and obviously we talked about Murray State, and you see Arkansas Little Rock taking LSU to Monday night. I mean, that's what you got to love about baseball. I mean, it's just you got to throw strikes and make plays and get some timely hits, and anybody can do it. And I've always said, if you want to be good in baseball, you can be good in baseball. There's different levels of commitment for resources and everything, but it's the one sport that just about any school in the country has a chance. If they put together the right group, they got a chance to run out there. And as we see that, right, a little bit in basketball. I don't know how much that's going to happen, much more, in March Madness. And, I mean, let's not kid ourselves. Like football, this can't happen, right? I mean, how many teams? So that's what makes baseball such a unique, awesome sport.
Dan, you touched on it a little bit, but just to see what your pitching was able to do between what Patrick was able to do out there, some of those young kids like Eberle and Schweitzer, how special was that performance from this group in the regional round? And, of course, now turning your attention to this weekend, how do you see this group stacking up against this Miami offense?
Yeah, like Patrick said, like just pitch to your strengths. I mean, yeah, we have respect for our opponent. We spend more time than we probably should on scouting reports and being prepared, and that's all good. But just do what you do well and trust your stuff. And I said it about Patrick, but it's really for the whole pitching staff all year. Give guys a chance to grow, go through the ups and downs, and this was an exciting year for Patrick, and he went through some highs and some lows, and then we rested him for a few weeks, and as we say, preparing them for life. And obviously talented kids like these guys, you're preparing them for pro ball. So when I brag about Coach Williams preparing guys to pitch in the postseason, I think the other big caveat is, man, he prepares guys to pitch at the next level. And they move, as we like to say, move through a pro system. So, you preach to these guys when you recruit them, and this is what you lay out. They have to be the ones that do it. They got to buy in. They have to believe. And we're like proud papas. Like we want them to have this fun and this enjoyment because they work hard. They're talented. And I will say, I mean, I think these kids deserve a lot of credit from who they are, not just as baseball players, but it's really awesome as a coach to get emails from fans on the road, from hotel managers, from restaurant managers. I love getting complimentary emails as to how well our kids have done and how they treat people. I don't know if they're the best tippers in the world just yet, but I'm trying to nudge them a little more as to how we tip and things of that nature. But at least they're hearing it. They're learning. They're hearing it. And I know budgets are a little tight with the college kid, but it's been fun to pour into them, and we get a lot of credit. But as we talked a lot about parents and families, the past few weeks, their families, obviously their parents, get a lot of credit for how well these guys treat people.
And speaking of ups and downs, can you kind of elaborate on the journey that Jake Schweitzer's made as a pitcher? I don't believe he was on the travel squad when you guys first went down to Texas to play that game, but certainly he came in and got the save against Vanderbilt in a tough situation. What is his journey been like?
I think you can learn a lot from Jake's journey as we try to preach to these kids. Most of these guys that show up, they haven't faced a lot of adversity. They're the best players. They dominate in high school or junior college or wherever they were at, and so they're not used to the struggles. So, for a guy that had a pretty good fall, but probably struggled in the spring training aspect, we got guys that you're going to go into spring training, you're going to try to make Team USA. You're gonna try to continue to move through this game, and as we say, you're always being evaluated, and they just have to get comfortable with that. And when it doesn't go their way and they struggle, it's still a long year, And I hate leaving guys home from road trips. I hate leaving them off the 27-man. Just breaks my heart. But more often than not, I text them. I try to encourage them, but it's not easy. And you give Jake a lot of credit. He went through those mental struggles, and he's not the only one. Most freshmen go through real struggles. I mean, this guy will tell you struggles he went through as a freshman. This guy will tell you the struggles he went through as a freshman. So they're super talented, and I think these guys would give that freshman class a lot of credit. They're really talented, but they were pretty professional as a whole. I think they made each other better. They were very competitive amongst themselves, but that was a pretty good competitive group. And I would hear comments from the older players. I would hear comments from the support staff. So I'm excited for the future as young guys that aren't household names just yet can hopefully be household names soon.
Yeah, Miami's one of the brand names, or old school brand names in college baseball. They've got 4, I think, World Series championships. But currently, you guys, there are more Louisville players in the big leagues than Miami players. You've gone to Omaha more recently than they have. What does that say about what you've built here? And do you think sometimes people underappreciate it?
I mean, I appreciate you saying it's obviously not what I built. I was just a part of it. I showed up at the right time. I've always said that. The stadium was a couple years old. I had come from an unbelievable program at Ole Miss with Mike Bianco. We had the Skip Bertman system. We won more games in our 6 years in the SEC than everybody else. I came here very confident at the right time and landed the right staff. And we talk about it, Coach Williams, who was just in Omaha that year with another program, and how we were able to land him. And so we've had a lot of stability, a lot of pride in this program, and we've done it with, like I said, guys from Kentucky and guys in the Midwest, where it is convenient for their families. And so, but, it's like you teach these guys, you never arrive, and you just have to adapt. And I try to adapt as a coach, but you just need others to adapt with you. And believe me, I get it, man. It's been very hard on administrations all across the country. And we've asked more from our donors and fans than we've ever asked of. I mean, it's like, holy cow. So there'll never be an administrator or somebody a part of this program that didn't say I didn't fight for the program. That's my job. That's why I'm here. I make more money than I ever thought I would make coaching college baseball. It's unbelievable. When I go back to my first 10 years coaching, I got into it because I loved the game, loved competing, and it was such a relief to not worry about my batting average and am I in the lineup and am I helping the team win. It was like, man, I'm helping other guys, and that was just so much fun. And I found so much joy in that I've been so blessed. And so, yep, the struggles have been tough the past few years, but, I just hopefully taught these guys, keep fighting, win the day, as we like to say. So just no matter what happened yesterday, man, win the day today. And if today's a bad day for you, go to bed tonight and be ready to wake up tomorrow morning and win the day. And you're not going to win every day, but I just think that mindset that we pour into these guys, and I've been blessed to kind of have, I've always said, for my wife, who's a saint, I'm super competitive. And as I've learned in athletics, man, you see your best and you see the worst in the athletic world. So I always ask, give a little bit of grace to some people, because as the great Pat Riley said, man, competition will bring out the best and it will bring out the worst in us. And you have to be that competitive. And I'm not making a pass for when we're our worst, but we're human, and we need grace at times. And so these guys have, they've seen my worst or very close to my worst. I'm sure from time to time when we lose or we don't do things that we know we're capable of doing, but I think they know I'm real with them, and I'm not putting on a facade or a front, man. Just you got to be who you are. And doesn't mean you can't be a better version of yourself, but just be who you are. And we say that when we recruit them. We try to be very like, hey, this is who we are. We're not for everybody, and don't come here if you're not for this, this, and this. And that's like these guys said, man. They came here with the expectation of being a part of these type of regionals and super regionals, and hopefully advancing their season along.
Since it's been 3 years since Louisville's been in a super regional, can you talk about what fans and U of L students can expect and what they might see?
I think they've already said it when the tickets sold out as quickly as they have. I think, and that's we've hosted a lot of regionals and a lot of super regionals, and outside of maybe playing our rival here in 17, I can't imagine tickets ever going that quick. So it's good that they're starving for this and wanting to be a part of this, and it's a blessing that, as I've always said, we try to get our fans as close to football season and fall sports as we can, So many loyal fans are very familiar with who we are and how we play, and for those that haven't, I think they're going to get a treat this weekend.
Dan, you've done the experience of being in supers, and Roger as well. How do you kind of handle pitching? It's not the normal weekends series because obviously it could end in 2. How do you handle the pitching?
Yeah, Patrick's going to go first. We're going to give him the ball and let him set the tone. Again, he doesn't have to do it by himself, but I would say it's all hands on deck. and we're not going to announce a Saturday starter or an if necessary of Sunday. I think all hands are on deck for game one. You just line up to, and the great thing about this pitching staff, they've pitched in a lot of roles, and they've gone through adversity, right? I mean, Bivens, a Team USA closer reliever, and has been out there for the last 3 outs of many games. And Eberle cut his teeth, like Schweitzer's doing out of the bullpen, which is, you tell these arms, that's where you got to cut your teeth, man. You usually have to do it out of the bullpen. So I feel good about, obviously, the talent of pitching staff, but just the experience that they've had, and they just want to win. I think that's what you love about Patrick and Tucker and these guys. Like, they'll tell you, as competitive as they are, and it's not easy to get the ball from Tucker Biven, I promise you that. They just want to win, and that's you got something special here when you have a group of guys that, man, they really love each other and they really want to continue playing together.
Dan, obviously this athletic program here at U of L has had a lot of success over the last couple of years, and you see what the football program has done, volleyball obviously making it to the Natty, basketball elevating. To get this program back to showing it's a premier program here on campus, how special has that been? And to have it as one of those premier programs alongside other successful athletic programs here?
It's what we've always wanted. It's a great challenge that, fortunately all the great football teams and basketball teams and soccer teams and swimming and diving and volleyball, and I can go on and on, the field hockey, you always felt like, some years you got to carry the flag because everybody goes through a lull, and if we have to carry the flag, that's a great honor, carry the flag. But there's a lot of years we weren't carrying the flag. Man, we had to do our part because somebody in the fall or somebody in the winter, and our athletic program has been through, like life, you go through some lulls and you get in some valleys, but it is cool to see how we bounce back. It is awesome. I know these guys, really appreciate the other sports and the success they're having, and like I said, I'm just so glad that we're doing our part in a great athletic program, in a great year after some tough years, and excited that like I said, let's get us as close to football as we can, and the blessing of a Coach Brom and our fall sports, man, it's awesome.
And aside from the first time you guys made it to Omaha, those other teams that came behind it, the 4 other, all had guys that were experienced and kind of been through the super regionals and kind of knew what to expect, knew how to go into it. What is the leadership like coming into this series this week? Do you and the staff feel, are you more hands-on, feeling that you need to guide them through, or do you feel like at this point the players, based on what they've been through the season, are taking that leadership mantle?
Yeah, I don't ever want to pass the buck as a leader, and these guys have to know I'll do everything I can to help them. But I'm sitting here today because, this is a player-driven, led program. This group has been phenomenal this year. That doesn't mean they're perfect, but, man, they have righted the ship. They have held each other accountable. They've had some heart-to-heart meetings. They've had some, hey, this is what we want to do. They set a standard. So it's my job to kind of go in line with them because they got to be the ones that want to do it. Again, we have a responsibility to lead them and put our arm around them or kick them in the rear when they need it. But, man, this group, man, they're ready. It's funny. I talk to coaches often about our former players who are going into coaching and might be coaching, and experience gets brought up a lot, as a topic of, is this guy worthy to be on my coaching staff or not? And I often downplay it because I'm like, there's a lot of bad experience. There's a lot of mediocre experience. Experience is nice, but take somebody who's young, who's hungry, who's driven, and you can help mold them. So, if Coastal Carolina can win a national championship with literally no experience of being in a super regional in Omaha, I'm just disappointed that I haven't been able to take a team to Omaha and help them win a national championship. So I'm glad that there's some experience that floats around the program, but then I'm kind of glad these guys, because they don't even know what the next level's like. And I've downplayed the next level because this is the greatest weekend in college baseball. This is the greatest weekend in college baseball. And I just want them to enjoy it. And because of their leadership, I'm not worried about the experience, if that's kind of the lead to the question. Sometimes it's better to not have that experience, if you want to call it, because they're worrying about that next step. They don't even know what the next step is, man. They know what it's like playing at Jim Patterson Stadium in front of some great crowds, so that's all they need to focus on.
Coach, they asked the players earlier, how do you feel about playing at home as an advantage to this series?
We've been pretty good at Jim Patterson Stadium, and you know, and they realize it's never 100%, you know, that the home team wins these, but you just like the comfort of playing at home, and we've been pretty darn consistent this year, and we played our best baseball at home. The weekend series wins versus North Carolina and Florida State are at home, you know, and like Lucas said, man, we were close on the road. Some of those road weekends, we were so close, but it was good that we got over the hump in Nashville. But, you know, we would choose to play here at Jim Patterson Stadium first, with the understanding it doesn't guarantee you anything other than, man, just getting a chance to play in front of your own families and friends, and getting what we call that winning routine. I think you control your winning routine a little bit better at home than you do on the road.
All right, everybody good? Thank you. Thanks,
Yep.
guys.
Thanks, everybody.